The Battle of Radko occurred in midsummer. The Battle of the Dimersdorf Crossings occurred in late summer. In early autumn of the year of the vigilant Pekingese, in central Maustria, General the Count Goudarian has surrendered his army to the Royalist forces of Gamelost and taken the royal oath at the feet of King Sivka. Not all of the Loyalist Council of Nobles accepts Goudarian's decision, and march what is left of their army away in the darkness. The Marquis Decimaus is now the head of the Loyalist cause. The final reparations of cheese has been paid from Zurin to Trentus. That aspect of the treaty obligation has been fulfilled. Monarthian Internal Security captured a Burdonese agent attempting to access Admiralty House in Port Harabi. The agent has been detained for interrogation. Royalist Maustrian police have arrested a small party of Crimsonian agents that had been asking questions in and around the Bergkäse. Burgundian agents have also been arrested in the Bergkäse. The cities of Krogan and Doolan in Crimsonia and Banota in West Thewiba have been improved with new facilities to promote economic growth. A letter from General the Count Goudarian to the Loyalist Governor Brunost has convinced the garrison of that city to raise the royal banner and join King Sivka's cause. Royalist Maustrian cavalry have raided the camp of the Loyalist army under Decimaus. The efforts of the army to escape Gamelost have been severely hampered. But Decimaus has extracted his army from the Royalists under Gamelost due to some clever planning, ruthless decision-making, and extraordinary luck. The Loyalist force moves north to Hurtenkäse, while Gamelost is obliged to halt and deal with some hasty fortifications. The fort is besieged, and falls after a fortnight. The north coast of Maustria has been heavily patrolled by squadrons of warship. One squadron is Monarthian-commanded Dunbarans. The other is from Tiplef Nazin. Whenever the ships encounter each other, they wave flags and cheer. The Tiplef Nazin forces ask at every village and port and fishing boat if anyone has seen their mercenary contingent. It is not clear what the Monarthian Dunbarans are looking for. In Ublico, the first servant has called for tightened belts as reparations cut into the national budget. An attempt to increase revenue has failed and damaged the popularity of the ruling coalition. The Ublico Democracy Party has won several seats in the Constituent Assembly and have increased say in further policy. The Cheese Company of Burdonese mercenaries are marching through Burgundy-controlled territory without supplies or pay. About 4,000 mice have abandoned the company and scattered across the countryside. The army of Black Cheddar has reached the sea and entered Adon. The flag of Burgundy still flies over that city. Penella has led the Loyalist Cavalry Corps to join the Royalist army of Pigafetta near Ziegel. Royalist forces under Pigafetta have arrived in Burgundy-controlled Montgrun and placed that city under siege. One fort has fallen, 2 remain. It is now mid-autumn in the year of the vigilant Pekingese. A fresh set of warehouses have opened in Dormaus, Zurin, improving the city's economy. Revitalized taxation efforts in Ublico brought in additional income for the cheese-strapped government. Maustrians in Dunbar have unveiled the Way Rail, a system of iron bars and special wheels that make it possible for heavy loads to be transported more easily on land. Mounts are able to pull up to 3 times more than in a standard cart. The Cheese Company has left Burgundy territory, loading onto ships at Tarmilt and sailing back to Burdain. At Montgrun, one Burgundy fort has been captured by a small team of agitators who have opened the gates in the middle of the night. Another fort has fallen after the Countess Penella appealed to the garrison to surrender. The city falls, and the small garrison of militia inside have been disarmed and dispersed. Royalist cavalry have again raided the camp of the Marquis Decimaus, causing much confusion and delaying the march. A Dunbaran division has arrived near Adelost, northern Maustria. Finding the city and harbour protected by a fort, the force has sailed instead to Vesterboten, where they have also found a fort. The force remains at sea, unwilling to disembark against the guns. The Loyalist army of Decimaus has found itself under siege in the city of Hurtenkäse. General the Count Goudarian has ridden around the lines, appealing to the Loyalist troops to cross over and join him in serving Maustria and her king. A number of brigades of infantry have left Hurtenkäse and joined the Royalist cause. There has been a short exchange of fire before the Loyalist army surrenders. Decimaus has been captured by Gamelost. In late autumn, Crimsonian agents have been caught agitating for democracy in Adon, Burgundy. Royalist Maustrian agents have been active in Adelost, Danaublau, Brunost, and Vesterboten. The northern cities have overthrown their Loyalist governors and declared for King Sivka. Burgundy agents have been active in Garland and Pratplatkov. Both cities have overthrown the Royalist control and declare for the Duke de Brugy. Burgundy forces have captured Ziegel and marched on towards Milbekaese, laying that city under siege. There is big news in Trentus. The cities of Hella, Osrak, and Lubova have received fresh infrastructure developments, improving economic outcome. Also in Trentus, there are reports that many infantry brigades have been disbanded. Thousands of regular troops are being sent home. There is embarrassment in West Thewiba as a class of naval cadets succeed in sinking their skiff in the Bay of Klobasan. Reports are emerging from Manarth that Prince Albrecht of Zuren has escaped his mandatory exile and disappeared. There is outrage in the Ublicon Constituent Assembly as it is revealed this first servant has sold the nation's last remaining squadron of ships to Dunbara to save on maintenance costs. Questions are also being asked about Ublico allowing Tiplef-Nazine mercenaries and Dunbaran infantry to march through its territory. A royal Maustrian army under Camembert has arrived at the Burgundian-controlled city of Edel-Pilskaser, bringing it under siege. Near Montgrun, the royalist army of Pigafetta with Countess Penella and the West Thueban mercenaries finds itself outnumbered and under attack by the army of de Brugy. The royalists attempt to delay the march of the Burgundii with cavalry raids, but find the duke's forces ready and waiting. Instead, it is the royalist forces that are delayed in their march, as they attempt to move through the mountains towards Bergade. There are reports of a battle above the clouds as Burgundii forces pursue the armies of Penella and Pigafetta into the mountains west of Montgrun. Early winter is marked by severe snowfall across the continent. Both north and south have 3 solid weeks of snow. The 4th week is rain in the south and fine in the north. There are various sieges and plots across the continent, and various city developments. Crimsonian military advisors have arrived in Stilwyn to give advice on troops and dispositions, and Crimsonian academics have arrived in West Thueba to foster improved understanding and scientific inquiry. Tiplef-Nazine mercenaries have arrived in Enitan after trudging through the snow. Tiplef-Nazine ships are in the harbour, ready to escort the group home. In midwinter, in the year of the vigilant Pekingese, at Milbekaese the fort guarding the city has fallen to sabotage. The city has been captured by the Burgundii. A force of Dunbaran mercenaries have crossed the border from Ublico into Burgundii-controlled Maustria and have occupied Prat-Platkov and Garland for the royalist cause. And there are various other sieges, explosions, plots, etc. Late winter in the south is rough. There are 2 weeks of snow and 2 weeks of rain. Prince Albrecht has returned to Dormouse and resumed control of Zuren after a bloodless coup. This is in violation of the treaty with Trentus, Crimsonia and West Thueba, who demanded his removal from power. Royalist agents have been successful in destroying 2 Burgundii forts defending Hohenheim. The city has fallen to royalist Maustrian forces. Royalist agents wearing absurd moustaches and peasant hats have been captured attempting to waylay Burgundii military forces in the vicinity of Milbekaese. They have utterly failed. Royalist forces have laid siege to Edel-Pilskaser and succeeded, despite the weather, in destroying a fort. 2 Burgundii forts remain to hold the city. It is now early spring in the year of the furtive tortoise, and is marked by weeks of rain. A Burdanese spy has been detained attempting to gain access to the Monarthian fleet currently in the straits between Tarmilt and Vindholm. Burgundia agents have been captured attempting to delay the march of a Dunbaran mercenary contingent near Garland. A Burgundii revolution in Hohenheim has displaced the royalist governor and taken control of the city, and the same in Ziegenkäse, and the same in Bachstein. But the Burgundii revolution in Prat-Platkov has failed. The city remains under the control of the royalists, and royalist agents have infiltrated a fort near Edel-Pilskaser. Only 1 fort remains to defend the city. A royalist plot has launched a revolution in Adon, attempting to seize control of the city. The plot has been defeated by a Burgundii military force that has been escorting West Thueban mercenaries across eastern Maustria for most of the winter. Adon remains under the control of the Burgundii. Royalist forces under Penella have assaulted a Burgundii fort at Bergada. The city has fallen without inflicting significant casualties. Zurenese forces have been reported marching on Scutsburg. The Trentish garrisons are preparing defences. Royalist agents have attacked and disrupted the wagon train of de Brugy's army near Milbekaese. The Burgundii force will be delayed in marching this month. But de Brugy has ordered his army to move and engage the royalist forces under Gamelos near Milbekaese. A battle is expected in the coming days.